Good morning, YouTube. So I had a few viewers ask how much power does this Type A Machine Series 1 Pro 3D printer use. So I've got it turned on now, but the extruder is off and the build plate is off. So this is just sort of the standby power. And let's swing around and look at my kilowatt meter here. This meter reads probably about 5 watts high at this level, so it's about 20 watts that the printer is using just idling here. Now if I turn on the extruder, let me do that, and there we go, it's up to 67, 68 watts, and actually there the fan just kicked on, so now we're about 70, 71. So that's the power with the extruder, and I'll shut that off. And if we turn on the bed here, let's see, did it? Yeah, there we go. So that when the bed's on, that's where the real power is. So you got about 470 watts with the bed heater on. So for printing something like nylon where I don't heat the bed, the printer is using about 70 watts. Once the printer is moving, the stepper motors and all that don't take a whole lot of power, so it's right around 70 watts when it's running. When I'm printing ABS plastic, you've got the build plate heater on, but it's not on all the time. It turns on and off. And so I did a 3.5 hour print in ABS with the build plate on, and I measured the energy consumption, and it was 700 watt hours or 0.7 kilowatt hours for 3.5 hours of printing, which works out to an average of about 200 watts. So if we swing back down here, yeah, if you're printing ABS, it's going to take about 200 watts to heat the bed, heat the extruder, move the printer around. If I'm printing nylon or PLA where I'm not necessarily heating the bed, then it's about 70 watts. So when you're running with the hot bed, that does use some power. You know, you've got 400 watts just in the bed heater to heat that up. That's a 300 millimeter square bed. So that's quite a bit of power, and that's where having my enclosure helps. Covering this front keeps the heat inside. The duty cycle on the bed heater is probably like 40% with the enclosure in place. If this bed were out in the open like the printer normally is, you would probably be up like 400 watts average. You know, this bed would probably be running all the time. You can definitely save some energy by enclosing the build chamber, and then that also helps get better prints with ABS because you get less warping that way. Reasonably energy efficient, about 20 watts idle, 70 watts roughly when it's printing with an unheated bed, and then you're looking at about 200 watts average with the heated bed. That's just a quick look at the energy use there. Yeah, in fact, see now the bed has come up to temperature, so it dropped back to 25. Then you see the bed cycles on 440. So yeah, it's probably about a 50% duty cycle with the front cover off. If I put the front cover on and let the air heat up inside, it'll drop that duty cycle down. But yeah, there you go. That's a heated bed cycling on and off. It's thermostatically controlled, so it's going to depend on your temperature setting and then how much airflow you have over the bed. If it's an open bed, it's going to be pulling a lot of heat out of there, and the heater's going to have to be on more. If you can enclose your build chamber, the heater's on less and you use less energy. So yeah, if you have any other questions about that, post up in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.